During this video, I'm going to resurface my table saw. As you can see, it's very rusty. My saw was set up in a very humid environment for about 7 years, and as you can see, it's suffered the effects. The first thing I'm going to do is remove the extension tables and the side rails. I had to speed up a lot of video. There's just a lot to film. I have everything disassembled here and ready to be cleaned. It only took me about 15 minutes to remove all the components. I used my orbital sander to get as much rust off as possible. I had two 20 grit sandpaper on hand, so that is what I used for the entire project. Some pieces I had to sand by hand. Continue using the orbital sander to clean the rust off of the table. I went through a fair amount of sandpaper during this process. It's neat to watch it transform from a rusty mess to a fairly shiny and very smooth table. Time to put a little mineral oil on it and rub it in with some steel wool. I found an article at ehow.com on how to resurface table saws, and that's pretty much the method that I'm using. Once I've cleaned all the mineral oil off, it's time to coat it with some silicone oil. Let that sit for 5 minutes and then wipe it off. If you're wondering where to find all that stuff, believe it or not, the mineral oil is in the pharmaceutical section. It took me quite a while to find it, but it's with the laxatives. And the silicone oil was over by Liquid Wrench and WD-40. I'm using regular car wax to wax the top of the table. And believe it or not, it actually turned out pretty good. It's very smooth. I'll let that sit and dry for about an hour or so, and then buff it off. Applying a coat of primer here. It's really important to turn the can upside down in between each coat and clear the nozzle. I didn't do that and I wasted over half a can. Just going to do some real light sanding with steel wool. The primer has a texture to it. You can hear a difference. I don't know if you can hear it, but sounds a lot rougher. So I let these cure overnight. Dry overnight. It turned out pretty good. Got a really smooth finish. Really surprised at how well it turned out. They're ready to be bolted back up, put back together. So that's the next step in the process. I believe this is going to conclude this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe and come back and check later because I'll be adding some extension tables onto the sides.